Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB strategy show. Significant amount of games today. Nice amount of action. Hold on, let me fix this real quick. Coming off of yesterday's 6-gamer and, just a bunch of these like Wednesday, Thursday type games. You've had some small slates, mainly because you're getting so many of these day games. But today, not the case. Anyway, good morning, fellas. Jorge, what's up? Einsteinium, my brother. What's happening, man? JK Means, was it you that said you're new here? Welcome. Welcome. Humble. Good one. Andy, everybody else, let's go. Yeah, they're running back that 111 contest today. I did not fare particularly well in that yesterday, but we're diving back in today. A lot of good contests. I still wish they would. I still think they should have no problem making the four-seamer and the mini max larger. To me, it's strange that they don't, but yeah, Jorge, well, you're coming off a $50,000 win, so enjoy that $1,500 tournament with a $250,000 up top. I hope you take it down. And if you do, well, people know something's coming their way because Jorge is the most generous person out there of any of the subs. But yeah, we got a lot to get into. Glad you guys could join me. And if you don't mind, take a single second this fine morning, atone for your sins, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It is 100% free, and I appreciate you guys in advance. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask. Goes a long way for this algorithm, you know. I can't do the Mr. Beast. I can't get the 6 million views in 5 hours by talking about whether or not 100 gorillas or 100 men could take on a single gorilla. But we're here talking baseball, and that's what matters. Anyway, yeah, leave a comment down below too if you're listening or watching after the fact. Also, I got something good for you guys I'll mention a little bit later in the show. I think you'll appreciate this because winning money and making money is why we're here. And at the end of the day, it's really all that matters. But we'll save that for a little bit later. Anyway, can we talk about the elephant in the room for a second? It's for this slate. You got the double-digit games. You got a Coors Field game with the Atlanta Braves. You've got several great pitchers on the mound. Freddie Peralta's going up against the White Sox. Jacob deGrom against the Athletics today. You know, typically avoiding the A's against a lefty, even though Patrick Corbin came out and for a strong 4 innings dealt and then started to unravel. But you've got some really noteworthy arms. Taj Bradley, significant strikeout stuff, and we'll go down the list. Jorge, no, Herman Marquez was not the guy that I was going to mention. Can we talk about Bryce Miller today at home against the LA Angels? I mean, to me, first of all, I ran the Sims. We're getting 52% exposure on Bryce Miller. That might not be enough. This guy's $8,200 today. All right. Now, if there's one thing we all know, and we talked about it yesterday when we were discussing, remember what pitcher do you know that if it starts out ugly, it's just going to be ugly and you turn the game off and you stop paying attention, you know your lineups are dead. We threw a lot of names out there. Someone mentioned any Seattle pitcher away from home. All right. Well, Bryce Miller at home is so good. I mean, this guy's home and road splits are very significant. You look at last year, all right, and you can look at career, but last year I think is more significant. This guy really started rounding into form. Okay, 30% K rate. I remember telling Josh this last year on the show as well. 30% K rate at home, 17.8 away from home. You're talking about someone with elite strikeout stuff, and for what it's worth, look, 96 innings pitched at home, 84 on the road, pretty strong sample. You're talking about an elite pitcher at home, elite strikeout stuff, and sub-average, subpar, below average strikeout stuff on the road. Unbelievable. 24% K minus BB at home with a .87 whip, a 315 FIP, and I think a 250 WOBA. 229 WOBA at home last year in almost 100 innings pitched. So there's just no way that you can convince me. And obviously, it's baseball. Weird shit happens. You can't convince me that this Bryce Miller isn't just a phenomenal play today. I see no other way around it, honestly. We can talk about a lot of other players on this slate. There's a lot of good pitchers. But Bryce Miller in this spot is really hard to avoid. And I'll do you one better, okay? On the season, the Angels have north of 800 plate appearances against righties, with the second highest strikeout rate behind only the Colorado Rockies. So, I mean, what are we supposed to do? They've hit for some power, no doubt, but 90 WRC plus, it's bottom 10 in baseball. I simply don't understand Bryce Miller's price point. He should be what? Like, if you guys were setting salaries on DraftKings, where would you put Bryce Miller at home against the Angels? I'm putting him at 9,500. I'm not even kidding. I mean, and obviously that's just off the top of my head, but Bryce Miller to me would probably be, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's the seventh most expensive pitcher on DraftKings. There's no way he's not like a top 3 priced pitcher on this slate. And I know on the season, he hasn't been fantastic, right? 3 of his 5 starts have been on the road. The one against Texas at home, he was good. He just only had 5 Ks. And the first start of the season, I don't care. Throw that out the window. It's the first start of the year against the Athletics. It is a good spot. It is a really good spot for Bryce Miller at home, where he has been purely dominant in his career. Now, at the same time, that shouldn't preclude us from getting to some of these other guys, because this is a stacked slate for pitchers. I mean, it is so stacked that we're not even getting much Garrett Crochet. And in all likelihood, that's because Garrett Crochet is so expensive. He's a good pitcher. I mean, he's a fantastic pitcher. But you've also got, look at the top pitchers tool here. Top 2 pitcher probability on DraftKings, right? Garrett Crochet is up there in the top 5, but he's also the most expensive pitcher. You have Jacob deGrom against the Athletics at 8,800. Understandably, the guy's coming back from some injuries, but his last 2 starts, not bad. 12 1/3 innings pitched, 3 earned, 13 strikeouts. One was against the Athletics in that new Athletics Park, which is very hitter friendly. And the one prior to that was against the Dodgers. He went 7 innings, 1 run, 7 Ks. Yeah, I think Jacob deGrom at 8,800. Again, when you're talking about price points, we could talk all we want about how good a pitcher is and how good a matchup is, but if you're not including context like the salary, then what are we even doing? What are we even doing? Those 2 salaries right there on deGrom and Miller are the reason they're so popular, and I don't hate it at all. Now, at the same time, Freddie Peralta looks really good, and if there's any pitchers you guys want to dig into, you know the drill. Hit me up in the chat and we'll do so. Freddie Peralta against the White Sox today. Fantastic spot. Logan Webb against San Diego. I wish Arias wasn't coming back, because they already have injuries, and that guy I think has struck out like 8 or 2 times in, I don't know, 90 plate appearances so far this year. That's a tough one, because when you're getting those, elevated strikeout rates with these guys being hurt, because remember, they've got several players on the IL. That's why a lot of us have been hammering over strikeout props from the Portfolio EV tools on these opposing pitchers against San Diego over the last little while, because they weren't really priced in enough to the market. These books weren't pricing in this lineup enough. Logan Webb, though, 15% ownership, $9,800. I can get on board with that. This dude's had a few fantastic starts already this year. He's been brilliant. And the thing about Logan Webb that we saw last year, this isn't to say that he never had decent strikeout stuff. He also pitches in a fantastic park. And this is in San Diego, but San Diego is still a pitcher-friendly venue. You look at Logan Webb, last year, 20% K rate in how many innings, right? 204. Through his first 6 starts this year, he has a 31% K rate. Like, Logan Webb is punching out a ton of bats, almost a third of the hitters he's facing. His swinging strike rate is up 3% from last year. So you're missing a ton of bats if you're Logan Webb right now. So yes, Arias returning sucks. And I would have preferred that not to be the case, because anybody you put in that lineup that isn't him is, more prone to striking out, because he's one of the lowest strikeout hitters in the league. But you're very simply going to have zero shortage of good pitching options today. A lot of mentions of Nick Pivetta in there from you guys. He's the, 6th highest owned guy right now, 11%. I wouldn't worry too much about ownership for anybody not named Bryce Miller and Jacob deGrom. But yeah, Webb and Pivetta are in there. And then Taj Bradley is another one of these guys where he has a propensity to at times unravel. He's just one of those guys. And often guys with, very solid strikeout stuff, that's going to happen, right? You're going to have, he has 4 walks. He's walked 4 batters in 2 of his last 4 games. That can be a problem. And in each of those games, he's been shelled. Yankees and Texas. He has great strikeout stuff, but it's Taj Bradley. And when the wheels fall off, you're not putting them back on. I said that about, I forget who it was yesterday. But from an upside perspective, I like him. He's all over the map, but he's a good pitcher with good strikeout stuff against this Kansas City team. They have, a 4.3 run implied total. The lowest totals on this slate are the White Sox against Freddie Peralta. San Diego, 3.4 against Logan Webb. He's been dominant. 3.6 for LA. Again, 3.6 run implied total with the second highest K rate against righties this year. And the opposing pitcher is $8,200. Make that make sense. San Francisco at 3.8. So both pitchers in this game look good. Toronto against Garrett Crochet at 3.8. And then Jacob deGrom, 3.9 for the Athletics. Reese Olson's last start was fantastic. I'm not going to try and keep that magic going against this Houston team. And these bats are starting to show some life. They tagged Jack Flaherty quite good yesterday and then took care of things in the bullpen against the bullpen too. Ryan Gusto is the one that we need to talk about here. Because when I ran the Sims, this guy was getting significant. I was getting a lot of exposure to him. Look at this. 30% at 7,200. 30%, 7,200. And yeah, Jake, Webb's new pitches. You see this with a lot of these guys where they add one pitch that's actually effective and they look like an entirely different player. Clay Holmes being another one of those guys, right? I know his last start, he only punched out 2, but prior to that, 6, 8, 10, and 6. Because he's got that kick change that's just unhittable right now. So when you add a new pitch and you're getting swings and misses on it, everything changes. And then sure, maybe down the road, teams adjust, but nobody's adjusting to Logan Webb this soon. It's the same thing with Clay Holmes. What are they classifying this pitch as, Jake? I mean, it's a cutter, but it didn't look like your typical cutter. Regardless, he's throwing it 11% of the time overall. 23% of the time almost to lefties. So this is a strictly when a batter has the platoon advantage, he's throwing this pitch. Yeah, he's got a 12% whiff rate on it against lefties. 15% on the slider, 17% on the four-seamer this year, and 17% on the change. He's missing a ton of bats. So I think Logan Webb at 15% is actually super viable in this spot. Again, I wish this team was not as healthy as they're going to be, assuming Arias is back in the lineup. He's expected to be activated from the IL today, but I do like Logan Webb for sure. We'll get into bats in a second, but really the question becomes, we can't play everybody. So who are we getting less of? Now, Ryan Gusto is, 7 games in, 3 starts into the season, and has a 25.6% K rate. He has not allowed power. He is not walking batters. He's going up against the Detroit team that has a 4-run implied total today. He's 7,200. So if you're going in the spots where your idea is to stack expensive teams, 14% swinging strike rate. I'd be interested to see what that is in the games he started and not out of the bullpen, because believe it or not, that is actually pretty different. But if you're going into this thinking, I want to stack the Braves today, or I want to stack expensive teams, it's actually not going to be difficult at all. Ryan, what are those? Pull them up for me while I'm doing this. What are the prices on both of those guys? I'll give you an answer. So let's see. Last 3 games he started, first 4 were out of the bullpen. Swinging strike, 14, 10, and 17% in those starts. Woo! That is solid. I mean, this could be just another guy that we shouldn't be overlooking. How many pitches did he throw in that last start? I mean, is he stretched out to the point where we don't have anything to worry about? Let's see. 72, 68, and 80, 5 2/3. They may have yanked him 2/3 when he got into a little bit of trouble. So I think reasonable to say around 90 pitches. That sounds about right. 10-7 on Webb and 9-1 on Miller. You're getting a $1,600 discount on Miller. They're both good, but Miller. Here, I'll pull up FanDuel in the top stat and the top pitchers tool. Here you go. Value here. Look at the value, Ryan, on Bryce Miller, 5.5% top 1 value percentage, 1.8% for Logan Webb. As a matter of fact, as good as Webb has been, him and Pivetta at their respective price points still have the lowest value I'll score on the slate. They're very expensive. So is Crochet. Again, though, it's not the fact that they're expensive. It's that they're super expensive relative to some of these other guys. A $9,100 Miller, sure, he hasn't been dominant this season, but it's a really, really good strikeout matchup at home. You have $7,400 Ryan Gusto. You another one where one of the highest values on the slate. I don't even think it's crazy to go down there in some FanDuel lineups. And then you've got $9,400 DeGrom against the Athletics. $8,600 Bradley. I know some of these guys aren't sure things. That's not lost on me, but you're paying a premium for guys like Webb, Pivetta, Crochet, and Peralta, which I think is fine. I think it's totally fine. But if you're asking me one or the other, Webb or Bryce Miller, it's got to be Bryce Miller at that price. And then $8,200 on DraftKings. Super cheap. Ryan, when can we get a Josh and Laffy nonsense show? Another one-chip challenge? First of all, they stopped doing that because apparently some kid died from it. I have trouble believing that's why. I don't know if they ever actually determined if that was the cause of death or not, but pretty sure the Packy one-chip challenge is gone. I also know that there's 0 chance Josh would ever do that again. No chance. But we'll definitely be back together for a bunch of these live before locks and once NBA starts winding down. The truth is we weren't going to have an MLB strategy show. And I was like, let me just jump on. I mean, we can still work through this slate together, right? Why not? All right. So back to pitchers. And if there's anyone you guys want to look at, let me know. But as I mentioned, my exposures right now are pretty heavily concentrated between Miller, DeGrom, Gusto, and Peralta on DraftKings. Pretty heavily. Some Bowden Francis, too, which is a little bit surprising. Some Taj Bradley, AJ Smith-Shawver, 6% Reese Olson, Logan Webb. I would be curious to see what our lineups look like. Are we getting the Bryce Miller Gusto lineups? Here's one with Tampa Bay and a 5-3 Tampa Bay Dodgers. With Bryce Miller and Ryan Gusto, 5-3 Tampa Bay Dodgers stack. So you're going to be able to get a little bit different here, and you're going to be able to get expensive. Tampa Bay going up against Lorenzen. And I can't stress this to you guys enough. If you've watched this show, you already know. And if you're new to this show, now you know. These games are not in the Trop. It's not at Tropicana Field. These games are played at George Steinbrenner Field, which is essentially Yankee Stadium. So with that in mind, anytime you're getting these type of games at Tampa Bay, it's not what it used to be. You know, this is no longer a spot where we avoid hitters. This is a spot, as a matter of fact, where we should be targeting them. So yeah, could be a little bit of weather there, but it doesn't seem like there's anything concerning. 81 degrees, slight wind blowing in, but nothing really to worry about. 81 degrees. Yeah, it's hot across the Northeast too. I mean, obviously down in Florida, but in the Northeast, it's hot. And Lorenzen hasn't been bad, but this is not a great spot. One of you guys, as a matter of fact, I forget who it was, mentioned the Rays home and road splits this year last week. And I found that pretty interesting because you were spot on. Like the Rays on the road this year, let's see, let's see what their ISO is. 122 ISO. And at home, 146 ISO. So I guess it's balancing out a little bit more than it was when we talked last week, but still, they're a better team at home. They're going to hit for more power at home without question. And Lorenzen's just, not the type of guy that's going to get a ton of strikeouts. Sub 20% career strikeout rate. Decent ground ball rate, but coughs up a good amount of fly balls. 12% career home run to fly ball rate. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But really, look through all of these lineups. Bryce Miller, Bowden Francis, Milwaukee, Tampa Bay. Freddie Peralta, Ryan Gusto, Houston, Tampa Bay. Bryce Miller, Francis, Tampa Bay, Atlanta. Tampa Bay, Atlanta. Seattle, Atlanta. If we wanted to get to the expensive stacks here, I don't think we're going to have a very difficult time doing it at all. Let's see. The top value stacks are down here. Pretty tough matchups or just bad teams. Colorado looking interesting, though, given that they have one of the highest value scores. Yeah, there's Tampa Bay. Pretty good value score. Some positive leverage on that stack. Atlanta's not going to be cheap, but they have a 22% top stack probability against Herman Marquez. That is insane. Look at that. Not another team higher than 8%. Not a single team higher than 8%. It's 57 degrees, but the wind's blowing out to right field a little bit. Didn't really slow anything down yesterday in that game. As long as it's not freezing, that's all that matters. That's really all that matters. Yeah, we'll get into some stacks here. I wanted to tell you guys, though. I don't know if you follow Greg's Bankroll Challenge. Tell me I hope you follow it over on Twitter. Greg's a sharp guy, but he's not doing anything crazy here. So since the start of the postseason, because he started with $100 earlier in the year, since the start of the postseason using the Portfolio EV tools, you'll want to hear this. He was at 12.18. He has bet for 7 days in the NBA playoffs so far, and he is up $648. That is starting with a $1,200 bankroll, not a $10,000 bankroll. The bankroll actually started at $100. And I'm telling you, as sharp as he is, he's not doing anything special. He's simply using the tools. He's picking the best. He's picking every bet he can find that is plus EV, and he's betting them. That is it. What a phenomenal start to the year. And look, you guys are 100% capable of doing this too. Some people just tail him, but most people have decided that they want to try the tools for themselves. And if you want to do that, I got something special for you guys today, strategy show exclusive. It'll be good through the start of this slate. And the reason I want to do it is because we have 4 NBA games going. Not only do we have 4 NBA games, but we have all 30 MLB teams. So your first month of Portfolio EV, your first month, the entirety of the month, 75% off. 75% off the whole month. Get some bets in. You know, I lost $300 on DFS yesterday. Didn't get the right combos. And I had a profitable day overall. A profitable day overall, not because of DFS, because MLB DFS is hard as shit, right? And you're just waiting for that big one to come along. That's it. And a lot of times it takes a while as you tread water. Still had a profitable day. The last week, super profitable week, despite being down in MLB DFS. 75% off, and this is all you got to do. Tweet me at Laffy_D. Just tweet me WIN, W-I-N. All of you guys are already on Twitter anyway. At the very least, you should be. Tweet me WIN, and I will DM you a promo code to get 75% off the entirety of your first month. You've seen Greg prove it in action. You've seen me prove all of this as well. Had a huge year, up, a lot this year as well. Last month was my best month of the year for sure, with only a 3% ROI, $5,700 profit on all limited accounts. You guys are going to have fresh accounts, clean accounts. Tweet me WIN, W-I-N. That's all you got to do at Laffy_D, Loughy_D. My handle's right there at the bottom of the screen. Just tweet me that, and I'll DM you a code to get your first month 75% off. That's less than $25 for the entire month. And if you're starting with a small bankroll, I promise you, it does not matter. Greg started with $100, and now he just went up $700 in 1 month. Or I'm sorry, in 1 week since the NBA season playoffs started. So tweet me WIN. Hit me up, W-I-N, and I'll DM you immediately a promo code to get 75% off your first month. And then in the DMs, I'll help you optimize your process, set up your portfolios, and start winning out of the gate. I'll take the time to help you guys out because I want everybody doing this to win. All right. Anyway, yeah, tweet me WIN. Get 75% off. I'll DM you that code. Do you guys want to look at any other pitchers? Any other pitchers we want to take a look at? Gusto, DeGrom, Pivetta. Pivetta's a strong play here too against San Francisco. Good park. Miller right now, my highest exposed. Webb, particularly on DraftKings, but I think both spots viable, just very expensive on FanDuel, highest price pitcher. Peralta, all of them look good. Crochet's right now the guy that is the casualty of the slate. I'm getting a lot less of him. Jorge, what's up, man? Yeah, I just joined today to try the EV. I suck on betting, so we'll give it a try. Jorge, definitely DM me, man. I'll help you get set up if you want. I mean, it's super easy, but I'll help you optimize the process if you want to dive straight into it. And if Jorge's using it, Jorge's a sharp fella. Everyone should be dipping their toes in the water. None of these guys do I want to get to. No, not even Herman Marquez, Jorge. Bryce Wilson, no. Joey Estes, I mean, I really don't. Sandy Alcantara, I don't know what's going on with him, truly, but I don't really intend on finding out today against the LA Dodgers. We watched Edward Cabrera get tuned up yesterday, and Alcantara has what? How many starts has he had this year where he's looked like his former version of himself? a couple early in the year, and since then he's been crushed. The strikeout stuff is non-existent. His K prop is 4.5 using the OddsShopper free odds, the live odds tool. 4.5. And earlier in the day, as a matter of fact, yeah, look, this is actually up right now as a positive bet. The under on Sandy Alcantara strikeouts. It's just one of these spots that you're not playing him. I'm not going to waste any more time on that. Let me see if it's still up there. Yep, here we go. Under 4.5 Ks at plus 120 on DraftKings. FanDuel's got it at plus 102. Circa's got it at minus 110. Caesars minus 106. Penny at plus 103. So just using the tool out of the gate, Sandy under 4.5 strikeouts at plus 120 looks very good on DraftKings right now. Very good. And I use this to dictate a lot of what I do in DFS sometimes too. Because if there's a spot that looks really good and it's an over or under, doesn't matter, and it looks like and we have the true odds looking far different than what the books are offering, a lot of times I'm very willing to jump on that. That's the only strikeout prop on the board right now. But you can't really get there. I don't want to get to Lorenzen here. 6,800, he'd probably be the guy all the way down here among the cheap options that I'd at the very least consider. There's really nobody else. David Peterson has been good, but this is an Arizona team that doesn't strike out, and they really don't strike out against left-handed pitchers. And he's not really cheap enough to make that argument when you have Bradley and you have Bryce Miller and all of these guys in the same range. Am I missing anybody? I don't know. Chokehold him. I got smashed on those Cavs unders. Yeah, here's the thing, though. I lost a bunch of them, but I won. I won like every one of the Miami Heat unders as a result. And then the only over I had from the tools in that Heat game was Bam over 11.5 rebounds, and he got 12. So that balanced out nicely for me yesterday. But my God, what a game. Yeah, they were up like, almost 70 points at one point. A travesty. If there's any other pitchers, we'll go back to them. Let me know. And we can break that down. But right now, you're seeing my exposures. Could it change? Sure. By the end of the day yesterday, I had less Nick Martinez than we did earlier in the day. For sure. I had less Nick Martinez. There's no doubt about that. Than we did when we ran the Sims earlier in the day. I had more Dustin May. And a few of these, more Ronel Blanco. So some guys are just going to come up and down throughout the day, especially as odds move too. If odds shift pretty dramatically, that can factor into this. Jack Kohanowitz. Jack Kohanowitz. Brutal name to say. I saw you mention him, Einsteinium. Getting 3% right now. I could understand where your thought process comes because it's obviously a good park. You know, Seattle's the type of team that I remember last year. Every time a righty faced, do you guys like on the strategy show? Every time a righty faced Seattle, we just played the righty and they were great through like the first 3 months of the season. And then Seattle stopped striking out as much. This guy's got an 11% K rate. He has a 4% K minus BB rate. My God, that's pitiful. Last year he had a 5. I can't do it, man. Nope. Sometimes I don't need to pour over data to understand spots I don't want to get to. And this is one of them. I mean, this guy has a 7.5% swinging strike rate over his last 90 innings pitched. Yeah, Einsteinium, I'll let you go. I'll let you roll with this one. Report back. Let me know how it goes. How about that? Yeah, I'm good on this. I mean, this is not great. No. 14 strikeouts to 8 walks on the season. He's allowed more earned runs than he's struck out batters so far. I think we can get creative elsewhere, and it probably isn't going to be there for me. It's not going to be there. Yeah, Choke Hold'em, you're right. It was Bellman and me earlier in the year. That's right. That's right. That's right. Anyway, we've still got some hitters to get to. So let's do it. Let's get to some stacks. Wow. Look at that Milwaukee exposure. Woo! Okay. All right. 16% 5-man Milwaukee, 5% 4-man Milwaukee, and 4% three-man stack. That is interesting. You're going up against, I believe we have, sorry, phone was ringing. I believe Bryce Wilson is the probable long man today, right? Bryce Wilson, formerly of Milwaukee. Yeah. And you're talking about a Milwaukee team, if I had to guess, I haven't looked at this yet, that ranks pretty good in top value today. Yeah, 4th highest. Getting some ownership, slightly negative leverage, but from a stack score perspective, they are second on the slate behind only the Braves. So right now we're getting a lot of Milwaukee, Tampa Bay. I had a feeling that would be the case, and Atlanta. And as you guys can see, a lot of 3-man exposure to Atlanta. The Mets as well against Arizona here. So the Mets are another team. Matt, okay, so this is going to be one of these slates. If you're playing the mini max or you're maxing the relay throw or whatever it may be, if you were to just run these lineups as they're currently constituted, you're either having a phenomenal day or you're praying that one of these lower exposed stacks goes off for you, right? Because right now, we are getting, what is that, 36, let's say 50, 60, like 62 or so percent 5-man stack exposure between 4 teams. If you include Texas, that's 7 teams. Wow. I don't hate it, though. The only thing that stands out to me a little bit is that the Mets, we have that much of the Mets against Eduardo Rodriguez at Citi Field. Eduardo Rodriguez has been punching batters out left and right. The Mets have done a good job of putting the ball in play, though. And the weather in New York today, good hitting weather, despite this not being a great field. Have you guys, by any chance, seen the wind at Citi Field today? No? Really? 20 miles per hour out to left center. 20 mile per hour winds out to left center. So I don't hate the idea of getting to this Met stack at all. Also curious how popular they're going to be. Yeah, there you go. 4.5% ownership, 5.4% top stack. at the very least, this is a team right now that is going to be low owned, positively leveraged against Eduardo Rodriguez with really good hitting weather, 20-mile-per-hour winds blowing out, super favorable, really, really favorable. And this is a guy in Eduardo Rodriguez over the last 2 seasons, about 80 innings pitched, sub 40% ground ball rate. He'll put the ball in the air. He's not an extreme fly ball pitcher, but he'll definitely allow the ball to be put in the air. So I like this. And on a 10-gamer, if you're getting to popular, let's say, Bryce Miller, and you're getting to popular Freddie Peralta and Jacob deGrom, like we are right now, it doesn't shock me one bit that some of these stacks we're getting to are going to be lower owned. The Mets are one of them. Like, the Mets are one of the lower owned stacks on the slate. So it makes perfect sense. But Atlanta, look, man, we could try and get away from them. Fine. But the spot against Herman Marquez is crazy. They have an implied total right now of 6.8. 6.8. No team is above 5.1. Does that mean they're going to be the best stack? No. But the fact that they have a 21%, 22% top stack probability within our top stacks tool, and the next closest team is 8% on a 10-game slate, you're going to need to get to some of them for sure. Marquez does not strike batters out. 14% K rate, 15% last year, but he barely pitched last year. 14%. I mean, this is just brutal. Yeah, the Braves just look too good to overlook here, honestly. And it's hard to take anything away from like home road splits here for Marquez from this year. And last year, I don't even know if he pitched at home. When's the last time Marquez has actually had pitched a decent amount? 2022, is that right? Shit. He's just not good anymore. And he was never great. And he's not punching guys out. Andrew, what about the D-backs on the other side of that game? So what, against David Peterson? Peterson's just good. I don't love him in this spot because you're not going to get the strikeouts you need to pay off a $7,800 price point. Even though he has been, what does he have, 23.5% K rate, which is nice. Extreme ground ball pitcher. 19% fly balls. Look, 51% ground ball rate for his career. He's just kind of one of the tougher guys to stack against. And I generally stay away from these spots. And I'll always tell you guys, home run per fly ball rate is misleading if he's an extreme ground ball pitcher. I like to look at home runs per 9. You can look at, essentially like how many is he giving up when he's out there? Not how many is he giving up per fly ball. Because really, who gives a shit about that? I mean, yeah, it's helpful that if a guy is a ground ball pitcher, but the ball's in the air, and you got a guy at the plate, we could dig into that more, that, we'll call it a fly ball hitter. Sure. But in this instance, Peterson over his last 50, let's say, innings pitched, over his last 150 innings pitched, he's given up 10 home runs. 10. That's crazy. So yeah, just not an ideal spot at all. Especially given that he's good. He's not just like, he doesn't give up home runs, but he gets rocked. No, he's good. So I'd probably want to stay away from that. See if there's any other stacks that we want to get to. By the way, guys, if you see me flipping through the Sims, through the top stacks, through the top pitchers tool, ownership, player projections, if you want to get access to all of this for free, literally all of this, getting the core Sims package with every tool you're seeing here, it's going to make you a better DFS player. hands down will make you a better DFS player the moment you start clicking those buttons. All you got to do is sign up with any of these sportsbook partners. If you're new to this show or you've been considering it, riding the fence, if you're in a non-legal betting state, you can do it. All of these pick'em sites. If you're in legal betting states, all of these sports books. Just click claim offer with the link in the description down below, right? You'll see it where it says sign up on any sports books, get a free month of Sims. You don't just have to get baseball. If you signed up on Caesars and on BetMGM and followed these steps, click claim offer, right? You have to use that link or we can't find you. Sign up, deposit, and place a bet. Minimum deposits $5 or $10 for all of these. Place a bet, and once that bet settles, all you do is send us an email of screenshots with your welcome email and your first settled bet. That's it. And then email us at support@stokastic.com with screenshots. Tell us which leagues you want. That is it. So if you said, I want PGA and I want MLB for the next calendar month, sign up on two of these. Let's say now you put $10 in total to these two sports books. Let's say 15, maybe one's 10, one's 5. That's $240 worth of these tools. You simply cannot beat it. And you get your deposits matched, or you're getting bonus bets sent your way simply from signing up and depositing and placing a bet. It's the best deal we've ever run. It's a no-brainer. Get in, start using these tools, start profiting more, become a better DFS player. Just use that link, claim the offer on whatever you want. And even if you're in Texas or California, non-legal betting states, same thing applies with all of those pick'em sites. If you ever have questions too, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up in the comments, whatever it may be. But let's see if we can find any kind of low-owned stacks here. Atlanta, yeah. Whoever asked that question about Arizona, they are positively leveraged. I just don't love that spot. Are we getting any? No, not really. Probably 2 total Arizona stacks. What about Seattle against Kohonowitz? That could be an interesting spot. The downside is the park, obviously. The upside is the matchup. Because the matchup is clearly in their favor. I mean, this guy, this is crazy. I had to go back to his player page. 11% Ks on the year and 1.71 home runs per 9. It's not good. I might actually consider getting to a little Seattle here. Muhammad said Cal Raleigh going off tonight. It would not shock me one bit, brother. We're getting 4% of them as 5-man stacks. I think they're an interesting contrarian play. Really interesting. 4% ownership here. What are the lowest owned stacks? Boston versus Francis, Jorge. Let's see. Relatively decent score across the board. They're expensive. 5% ownership. Are we getting any? A little bit, but not really. Problem is, on a slate like this where you have 10 games, you're going to have to draw the line somewhere. Unless you just want to be spread out so far, so thin, that now you're just trying to get pieces of everything. Einsteinium, is San Diego still playing up home runs, Laffy? Could be sneaky. Yeah, I mean, I know they made some adjustments there. We can look. So go to Baseball Savant. Home run, rolling 3-year average. Petco Park is 11th in home runs. If you want to look at for righties, Petco is, where are they? 18th for righties. And for lefties, oh shit, hold on. Lefty homers, they're 23rd. 23rd. And righty homers, they are 5th. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for righty power here, good homer park for righties, not nearly as much for lefties. When did they make the changes, Steven? I thought, when did they make those changes? I'm more than willing to be wrong here. I thought it was like 3 years ago. Is it more recent? Because they made changes around that time, I thought. Did they make more changes? Was it before last season? All right. I mean, we can look at last year if you want to do that. Last year, Petco Park for righties was number 1 in the league for home runs. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate it, guys. Number 1 in the league last year for home runs for righties. Meanwhile, for lefties, it was 12th. Problem is, I just don't love this San Francisco team, but I like where your head's at. Definitely. Wow, has Pivetta really limited power to that extent this year? That's remarkable. Let's see something. Let's see last year for Nick Pivetta. Granted, different team, different park, all that stuff. A lot of homers to righties. Maybe you're on to something. 2.13 home runs per 9 to righties last year. Interesting. This is why this stuff is fun to go through. Start learning a bunch of stuff. He was on Boston last year, wasn't he? Or was he on, who was he on last year? Was he on San Diego already last year? No, Boston. Yeah. He's on Boston last year. Fenway Park for righties. 16th in home runs for righties, and then for lefties, 21st. Yeah, maybe there's something to be said here. Maybe what's the ownership on San Francisco? They're getting no ownership. They're one of the lowest owned teams on the slate. 2.6%. Should we do it? Should we sprinkle in a little bit of San Francisco against Nick Pivetta? Yeah, Steven, exactly. You're used to Pivetta with 8 Ks and 3 bombs a game. I know. Steven, don't forget, as a Phillies fan, I got to see him first, brother. I got to see a lot of Nick Pivetta, and you never knew what you were getting out of him. Who was the other pitcher we had that was the same way? He had like a 15 strikeout game against the Padres. One of you guys will tell me. I have faith that you have a better recall memory than I do. Oh, and some days he would just be terrible. And other days, dominant. He was in the rotation with Pivetta at one point. What was his name? Several years ago. One of you guys will let me know. Yeah, we're not getting San Francisco. I'm with you. I might be willing to boost them a little bit. I think I'd be willing to boost them a little bit. Especially knowing this park really is playing well for righty homers. And you got winds blowing out a little bit there. Nothing significant, but still enough. Oh, was it Velasquez? No, it wasn't Eflin. I think it was, what was his first name? Must not have been too memorable. I remember playing him in DFS when he had that 15K game, and then the wheels fell off after that. Anyway, good stuff, fellas. No, not Syndergaard. No. He wasn't white. There's your hint. I think it was Velasquez. No, it's going to drive me nuts. Anyway, that's what we got. I am going to go place some bets before this call I have coming up in 1 minute. Remember, I mentioned to you guys, if you jumped in late or if you're watching after the fact, If you're watching after the fact, or if you jumped in late, join us over on Portfolio EV, doing a little flash sale today. If you tweet me at Loughy_D, LOUGHY_D, my handle's right there. Tweet me win, just so I know you came from this show right here. I'll DM you with a code 75% off your first month. Massive discount, less than $25 for the entirety of the month. And just one more shout out to our boy Greg, because he took $100 and he's turned it into almost $1,900 with a $100 bankroll, only using these tools. So if you think that you can't do it starting with a small bankroll, I promise you, you are sorely mistaken. I'll do you one better before you go. Justin, who DM'd me out of the blue one day, started with $100 in November. He is up. This was from early April. He was up over 11,400 strictly using these tools. He told me he placed no other bets, and about 95% of his bets were straight bets, not even parlays. 11,400 using these tools, started with a $100 bankroll, and you can see it with his year over year. So if you want to jump in, tweet me, win, WIN, 75% off your first month. I'm going to, everybody right now who already hit me up, I'm going to jump in your DMs, or I'll shoot you a code. If your DMs aren't open, I'll respond to you to get 75% off that month. Start making money with us. Join the Discord. DM me for optimization process, and we'll get you in, locked in. 15 games today, 4 NBA games on top of that. We're going to make some money one way or another. We are going to make ourselves some money, whether it's in DFS or betting. I like to give myself multiple outs, and I like to buoy those DFS losses when bad days happen. And by God, they happen often. So tweet me, win, WIN. Say hello. Say whatever the hell you want. Doesn't matter. I'll DM you. We'll get you in 75% off the month. Good for today. And if you're watching after the fact, same thing applies. Guys, have a great rest of the day. We'll see you back here tomorrow, live before lock style for a Wednesday day slate. Peace.